Dropped object checklist hierarchy control. 1. Elimination. Was the need for taking objects at height that could potentially fall been eliminated? 2. Substitution substitute current practice with a safer practice. Steel structure frames are pre-assembled prior lifting them in position. Dedicated safe manual hoisting zones identified and established to prevent personnel from carrying tools and material to height. The roofs of tanks are pre-assembled prior lifting them in position. Equipment are dressed up prior lifting in position. Designed cradles with SWL are in use to lift scaffold to height instead of handballing or for storing scaffold material at height. Install debris chutes instead of manually removing of debris, construction waste. 3. Engineering controls, provide engineering solutions. Debris nets installed where possible. Scaffold fans installed where possible. Toolboxes provided at elevated areas and in use to store tools. Tarpaulin or mats placed over grating when working with small objects, for example tools and/or material. Containers provided to keep bolts, nuts as well as small tools, material secured during activities at height. Tool lanyards, tethers and tool belts provided and used. Hole covers are designed, marked, secured and implemented to cover openings. Self-locking pulleys are in use at dedicated manual hoisting zones, secured to structures, scaffold with barricades in potential drop zones. Is guardrails toe boards installed? Hoisting bags with SWL in use in dedicated manual hoisting zones with barricades in potential drop zones. Is hard barricade provided to separate dedicated manual hoisting areas from other work locations? Is the barricade assessed to make provision for extension to protect personnel from possible deflected dropped objects? Is overhead shielding provided at exit areas from pipe racks to protect personnel from potential dropped object and allow work at multiple levels? Shielding at another exit path from under drop zone provided. 4. Administrative controls. Is the dropped object program revised and amended to be current with the phase of the project? Is the JSA updated to mitigate all hazards? Is the mitigation measures in the JSA implemented? Did workers participate in awareness training for dropped object prevention? Is workers trained to tie the correct knots for manual hoisting of equipment? Is dropped object posters and bulletins posted on site visible and in strategic places posted? Is dropped object prevention measures discussed during TBT/T on a regular basis for relevant personnel? Does LMRA include drop object prevention inspections? Is a housekeeping campaign focusing on dropped object prevention in place and implemented? Is debris nets inspected on a daily basis to ensure its effectiveness and is the inspection recorded? Are tools, such as hammers, handles, inspected on a daily basis to ensure that they are in good condition? 5. PPE. Do personnel have the correct PPE to protect them against dropped objects? E.g., hard hats. Is the use of chin straps implemented and personnel in compliance when working at height or where the potential exists that the hard hat may drop to a lower level? Drop object inspection. Job safari analysis. JSA has been developed and reviewed. Exclusion zones. There is a worker accessible area below the overhead work. Barricade are in place. Signs are in place to explain the reason for the barricades. The exclusion zone is large enough. Overhead protective structures. There is an accessible area below the work. The area must remain accessible, so it requires overhead protection instead of barricades. Overhead protective structures are installed correctly. Guard rails. Toe boards are installed. There are no gaps between the toe boards and the work surface. There are no gaps between the adjoining toe board. Toe boards are at least 3.5 inch. Guardrails have a mid-rail and top rail. Opening covers. Openings near the wart area that require covers have been identified. Existing cover tie in place. Existing covers are properly secured and marked. Scaffolding. All debris and unnecessary materials around the scaffold are removed regularly. Proper guardrails and toe boards we installed and tagged green. Hoisting and rigging. An exclusion zone has been established and barricades installed. Warning signs have been posted where needed. No workers are under the path of the overhead load. Loads are properly secured. Slings and other hardware are in good condition. Tag lines are used to control loads. Proper lifting containers are used. Flagmen are used when required. Housekeeping. Material is properly secured. Material and equipment are kept 1.5 meters away from edge. Debris and material are cleaned up and removed regularly.